Atlanta news first, plus starts now with breaking news.
Hey there, everybody. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Rodney Harris. This is a special update on Hurricane Melissa, which is a powerful Category 4 hurricane right now, about to make landfall along the western side of Jamaica. So I want to start with the latest information on Melissa. The winds are up to 185 miles per hour, so the winds have actually increased throughout the course of the morning. That 185 mile per hour wind, by the way, that is the second strongest wind that we have seen on record in the Atlantic since the wind speeds have consistently been measured. Again, the second strongest wind speed in the Atlantic since wind speeds have been measured. When you take a look at the entire world, Hurricane Patricia, which was southwest of Mexico, had a wind of like 215. So when you look at the whole world, 215 is the strongest wind. But just for the Atlantic Basin, which includes the Caribbean, what we're looking at right now, the Gulf, and then the Atlantic, 190 is the strongest wind that we've seen, 185 the second strongest. Lots of hurricanes have hit 185. Melissa now on that list, tied for number 2. So that's the wind, which unfortunately has continued to go up this morning. And I want to talk about the motion because that's super important too. Now, as you know, the rain, the storm surge, and the wind combined is bad enough with hurricanes. But the other issue that we've had with Melissa is earlier today was only moving at like 2 miles per hour. And as you know, for the past several days, it's kind of stationary. So the fact that it hadn't been moving has allowed rain to just kind of constantly fall in the same areas of Jamaica. So what I want to do is I want to go to the enhanced satellite imagery, and I want to show you two things. First of all, the bright red that you see, I'm going to make this full so you can see the entire system here. That bright red, that represents the heavy rain bands that are impacting Jamaica right now. That's how our satellite sees the rain. So that brighter red indicating heavier rains. And then you can see the eye, okay? Clearly see the eye now about to make landfall along the western coast of Jamaica. So that circle that you see, once a good chunk of that circle starts to move inland, and cross the Jamaica line, a landfall will be official. Right now it's 11:02. We think that'll happen over the next hour or so. Earlier this morning I said it happened by this afternoon. So by lunchtime, no later than 1 o'clock, we should have a landfall again, the southwestern side of Jamaica. That already looked like it's starting to happen. That eye wall is really close to land. So about another hour or so, no more than an hour and a half, and we should have the first of what will actually be many landfalls from Melissa. Catastrophic event here for Jamaica because of that 185 mile per hour wind that will particularly impact the western side of Jamaica. And we've been looking at data this morning. We were actually able to see the wind speeds and the wind gust in Kingston earlier this morning, but as the stronger winds are now starting to move inland, we've lost that data because the wind is simply too strong. But earlier this morning, we were seeing some tropical storm wind gusts throughout the entire island of Jamaica. But again, that data has now been lost now that the center is starting to move closer. And the way this works is the strongest winds is right around the center, right around that eye wall. That's where you're going to see those peak wind gusts of 185 as it moves inward. That's why we believe it's really going to be confined to the western edges of Jamaica. It's a catastrophic hurricane, but Kingston won't see the worst of it. That'll be the western side of Jamaica where that strong wind will really impact them. So here is the latest forecast track. This actually just updated as of 11 o'clock. So this data showing landfall very soon. I'm going to take this full so you can get a better idea of what's happening here. By tonight, we will actually see Melissa cross over Jamaica and get back into the Caribbean briefly. So it will make landfall as a Category 4 hurricane, strongest ever for Jamaica. And then cross over Jamaica, reemerge in the Caribbean, and then make a second landfall, we believe, very early on Wednesday morning. So while most of you are asleep, a second landfall will happen in Cuba. And then as it moves over Cuba, it'll start to weaken, but still a major hurricane, and it will eventually track toward the Bahamas as we head toward the later part of Wednesday. So again, Jamaica's first. That's what we're concerned about right now. Catastrophic conditions developing in Jamaica and continuing throughout the day. And then Cuba will be second. and then the Bahamas will be third, and then after that, we will see Melissa start to move away from the Caribbean and away from the U.S. altogether. So that is a look at the track. Want to take you back to the satellite imagery for Melissa, and again, this is going to be super important. This is basically how we're determining landfall. And the eye of Melissa is very close to making landfall. We believe this will happen within the next hour or so. You don't have to have that entire circle on land. Once some of that circle starts to cross over land, landfall will be official. I actually have data up from the National Hurricane Center right now. So the moment landfall happens, we'll know, and we'll push that out to you in our First Alert Weather app. The other thing I can tell you, if you follow us in the First Alert Weather app, they're doing updates every hour, which is something that is done as these hurricanes get close to land. So we'll give you hourly updates up until Melissa makes landfall. But again, that should be fairly soon with landfall anticipated within the next hour or so. I just want to read some of the latest information from the National Hurricane Center. Again, it's about 40 miles the center of it, southwest of Jamaica, so very close to landfall there. Winds at 185, which have increased. And now they actually have the movement at 9 miles per hour. So again, earlier this morning it was like 2 or 3. For a few hours it went up to 7, and now it's up to 9. The reason why that's important is because, again, as it speeds up, that will allow it to at least move quicker and not have as big an impact as if it were stationary. It was stationary for days, so we want it to actually speed up a little bit. That's as of 11 o'clock this morning, the latest information from the National Hurricane Center, and we'll have another update right before noon, so be sure and join us on Atlanta News First at noon, because First Alert meteorologist Ella Dorsey, she's going to have an update on that information, and possibly a landfall at noon, so we'll keep you up to date on that. What I want to talk about next are the strongest hurricanes, because Melissa quickly becoming one of the strongest hurricanes in the Atlantic. I talked about the wind speed earlier. The other way that we measure the strength of hurricanes is by pressure. So the way that this works, the lower the pressure in the hurricane, the stronger the hurricane is. What happens is the pressure drops and the wind speed responds by going up. So normally we see the pressure drop first, and then that tells us that the wind is going to kick up. And for several hours, the pressure and Melissa just continued to drop. So these are numbers that we don't normally show you on television, but I'm going to show you this here on Atlanta News First Plus, because I want to give you an idea of how strong Melissa has been. So millibars is what we're measuring this in, and just for perspective, the pressure right now in Atlanta, like as we speak, is 1016. That's our pressure in Atlanta. So in hurricanes, you're talking about pressures in the 900s, typically. All of these pressures that you see in the 800s, the lower the pressure, the stronger the storm. So the strongest storm on record, the strongest hurricane in the Atlantic was Hurricane Wilma back in 2005, same year as Katrina. That had a pressure of 882 millibars. Okay, that's the strongest on record in the Atlantic. 882 millibars. That's Wilma. Melissa is now at number 3. So earlier this morning, Melissa was actually further down on the list, but because the pressure keeps going down, Melissa now the third strongest hurricane on record in the Atlantic based on this pressure of 892, which is what we're clocking right now. And it's also important to know that this is not official. It's 11:08 right now. It's not impossible for the pressure to drop even more. So it won't be official until much later, but based on the pressure that we're seeing right now at 892, it is the third strongest on record in the Atlantic in terms of the pressure. So that's the other concern that we have. Pressure drops, wind goes up, and that is what's producing, unfortunately, catastrophic conditions in the Jamaica area. Next, what I want to do here is I'm going to briefly switch away from Hurricane Melissa. We're going to come back to Melissa. Maria will have some news to give you on Melissa, how they've been preparing for this hurricane. A lot of evacuations have happened, but I do want to talk about a First Alert Weather Day that we have in Atlanta. I want to talk about our forecast a little bit. So today we actually have a bit of a break from the rain. Now it's going to stay cloudy, unfortunately, and it's going to stay chilly. Our temperatures have been basically the same for like a day or two. So we were in the 50s just about all day yesterday. We're in the 50s this morning for the most part. Some of you dropped into the upper 40s, and we're going to stay in the 50s this afternoon. So you're not really going to notice a difference in the temperatures. It'll just kind of stay chilly about what it's been for the past day or so, all day today and all day tomorrow. So no change in your temperature. But the good news about today is no rain. It's really just going to be cloudy, so it's going to look bad and it'll be chilly, but you don't have to worry about any rain today. Now, on Wednesday, the rain is back, so that's why Wednesday is the first lit weather day. And if you didn't like Monday, you're not going to like Wednesday because the weather will be the same. We have scattered rain in your forecast in the morning. It looks like that rain is going to be moving in during the commute, so the earlier you leave, the better off you may be. But as we get further into the commute, that rain is moving in from west to east, and we'll basically have scattered rain all morning and scattered rain all afternoon. By Wednesday evening going into Wednesday night, that's when the rain will start to let up a little bit. So late Wednesday morning going into the afternoon, we'll basically see rain all day. No thunderstorms or anything like that, but again, just kind of another yucky day, cloudy, chilly, with scattered rain throughout the day. So plan on that. That's why Wednesday is the first alert weather day. Thursday, we'll see improving weather. It'll still be chilly on Thursday with highs staying in the 50s, so no real change there. But we'll start to see some sun by the end of Thursday, and then Friday, just in time for Halloween, it'll be sunny the entire day. It'll be chilly, so if you're getting costumes still for the kiddos, temperatures will be in the 50s on Friday evening, so make sure and dress the kiddos appropriately for that chillier weather. The normal high for this time of year is like 70 degrees. Our actual high on Friday will be in the low 60s, but again, those temperatures dropping into the 50s in the evening. So that is for your trick-or-treaters. And then the forecast will be fine over the weekend. Temperatures will actually be near 70 Saturday and Sunday. So once we get past the next couple of days, our weather is improving. So that's the first alert for what we're looking at tomorrow. I want to get back to Melissa because that's really the main story here today. And this is the current satellite imagery that we're showing you right now. Again, Melissa is technically 40 miles southwest of Jamaica. I'm actually looking at data from the National Hurricane Center as we speak to let you know the moment that they announce a landfall. We're looking at that circle, which is the eye of Melissa. Again, right around that circle, the eye wall is where you see the strongest winds. So that's where those winds are going to be peaking at 185 or gusting to 185, particularly impacting the western half of Jamaica. And once some of that circle starts to make its way onto Jamaica, that's when landfall will be official. I'm going to zoom in so you can get a better idea. That eye is still technically offshore, but you can see the border of Jamaica, and you can see where the eye is. Once we start to get at least some of that eye crossing that border, that's when landfall will be official, and we're pretty sure that's going to happen over the next hour. So landfall will happen very soon. As I mentioned, we have First Alert meteorologist Ella Dorsey, who will have that information for you on Atlanta News First at noon. I'm pretty sure we'll have a landfall in the noon hour. So join Ella for immediate information on when that landfall will happen. It is a Category 5, and it will make landfall as a Category 5, unfortunately. We were looking at cameras earlier, and we didn't really see, we saw some rain and some tropical storm wind gusts at times, but that stronger wind is really starting to move into western Jamaica right now. We just can't show you that data anymore because the data's gone out, of course, but the stronger wind's moving in as we speak. So flooding rains, very strong, like catastrophic winds for western Jamaica, and storm surge will be a big part of this story. So we'll keep you up to date on Melissa. In fact, our extended coverage on Melissa continues right now. As I mentioned, Maria has more information on what's happening in Jamaica. Maria, evacuations have already happened. Of course, everybody's done everything that they can do to prepare for that. I want to read you this. And one of the updates from the National Hurricane Center, just to kind of show you how serious this was, Maria, the wording that they've been using at the National Hurricane Center has been not great. So I just want to show you one of these more recent updates that we've received from the National Hurricane Center. Catastrophic and life-threatening wind, an issue. So in the 10 o'clock update, Maria, this is directly from the National Hurricane Center. Last chance to protect life. That's pretty much as straightforward as you can get. So unfortunately, not a great situation for Jamaica, but we are here to keep you up to date on real time what's happening there.
That's right, Rodney. And even leadership, the Jamaica government said that they have done all that they can to prepare to evacuate, to get people in a position where they, to the best of their ability, can survive this. So thank you so much for joining us at the First Alert Breaking News Desk as we continue to follow this story and really track with you the path of Hurricane Melissa. as we talk about this major catastrophic hurricane and watch closely as it approaches Jamaica, the Category 5 storm is shaping up to be one of the strongest the island has seen on record. Melissa expecting to bring catastrophic flooding, landslides, widespread damage to the island. Reporter Reed Binion spoke with leaders on how the country is bracing for impact.
Melissa's outer bands are already lashing Jamaica with wind and rain. Hurricane conditions are expected to arrive on the island Monday night.
It appears virtually certain that the core of a powerful hurricane is going to move over Jamaica. We don't know precisely where, but for all intensive purposes, it doesn't matter because the rainfall, the heavy rainfall and the catastrophic flooding at this point appear mostly locked in.
Kingston, Jamaica's mayor sounding the alarm over the weekend.
We have never had the experience of a Category 4 or Category 5 hurricane. This is going to be huge.
The strongest known storm to affect the island was Category 4 Hurricane Gilbert in 1988. It destroyed more than 100,000 homes, wiped out power and communications, and killed 45 people. As Melissa intensifies to a Category 5, mandatory evacuation orders are already in place for several vulnerable communities, including parts of Kingston.
The time for preparation is all but over.
Jamaica will not only endure Melissa's torrential rain, but will also have to contend with days of ferocious winds. The most extreme winds will likely occur as Melissa tracks over Jamaica on Monday night into Tuesday.
All of the island will experience even up to 20 inches of rainfall over sections of your area. So if you are in a flood-prone area anywhere across the country, you can expect that flooding is going to occur.
I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
And as we continue to track the path of Hurricane Melissa, the storm is already to blame for 7 deaths in the Caribbean, including 3 in Jamaica, 3 in Haiti, and 1 in the Dominican Republic. We can tell you we've also learned that another person remains missing, and we're watching closely for the count as Jamaica and the Caribbean continue to feel the impacts that Rodney had mentioned of this storm, of this hurricane. On Tuesday morning, Melissa was centered about 50 miles southeast of Jamaica. Obviously, that has since changed as we take you back out to radar and where this eye wall is now. And that red really paints a picture for you of the intensity that the Caribbean is facing, primarily Jamaica right now, as many people continue to try to evacuate, to try to secure their belongings and really brace as best as they can and protect each other for what is expected to be a, quote, total structural failure near the path of Melissa Center. That's directly from the U.S. National Hurricane Center in Miami. So we are going to continue to follow this and any major impacts that we see from this hurricane, from this storm, and bring that to you in the free Atlanta News First app. Make sure you have that downloaded on your phone and you have the push notifications turned on so that you can get alerted with breaking news like this and any updates in the day and really the days ahead.
Thank you for watching ANF Plus. For more breaking news, live coverage, and your community stories, download the Atlanta News First app. You can also watch us on YouTube, Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV. To join the conversation on YouTube Live, visit our channel and hit subscribe. You can also listen to the Atlanta News First podcast by searching Atlanta News First on your preferred listening platform.